myself on a lonesome highway. So I cut my teeth rebelling my way. And I told myself I would not fail, I would not fall, I would prevail. It just takes one hand to put you in your place.
Okay, so tell me how music influences your change in emotion, and what kind of music you listen to during certain moods that you may experience.
Okay, well, it's tough. Stop. Yeah, hold on.
Okay, so tell me about the kind of music that you like and how you think it influences the change in your mood or emotion.
Okay, I listen to music every day. Wide variety of music. I listen to everything from country, alternative, classical, heavy metal, indie, hip hop, everything. Dubstep, I guess, is a type of music now. So when I'm sad and depressed, I'll listen to like slow, melancholy music, like maybe Postal Service, stuff like that. It's just kind of like really relaxing, and it just kind of like perpetuates the mood. When I'm angry, I'll listen to like Lamb of God or like Rammstein, or maybe like something that's really just like guttural and like violent sounding. And like happy music, I guess, for me would be like Mumford & Sons, Abbott Brothers, Blink-182, like anything like that. That's just like, you know, it's happy, it's upbeat, and it makes you feel upbeat. And so it helps perpetuate the mood. And
Okay, well, thanks.
the same way, like I said, no other version.
Yeah, that's good. So how does music influence your change in emotion, or what kind of music do you listen to, like when you're in a certain mood?
When I'm in a happy mood, I listen to more upbeat music, but I tend to listen to sadder music like country when I'm in a sad mood, because it tends to help me get through bad phase or stage in my life.
Yeah. Does it help you sort of like relate, or like does it help you to know that someone else can relate to you through music?
Definitely. It seems like sometimes the music's written for your life.
Yeah. Alrighty, awesome, thank you. Okay, so what kind of music do you listen to when you're in certain moods, or how does music affect the change in your mood or emotion?
I think music has a direct effect on my emotion, depending on what mood I'm in. Generally depends on what music I choose to listen to. I like a wide variety of music, all sorts of different music. I think if I'm in a sad mood, or in like kind of like a maybe more of an angry mood, you know, I like listening like Bob Marley, because that cheers me up. You can't really be mad when you're listening to Bob Marley, because he's just so happy about everything.
It's a true story.
He sings about being in the ghetto and going through horrible things, but he's like so happy about it at the same time with a big smile. He's like, oh, I love the ghetto. So it's like, it's cool. It makes you look at your problems in a different way. I think the tempo of the music, if you listen to more techno music, something more upbeat with a faster rhythm, that's good for social gatherings when you're around a lot of people. Or when I'm working out, I like to listen to rock music, because it gets me in a mood where I'm ready to work out, you know what I mean? I'm amped and I'm pumped, you know?
Yeah.
So that definitely affects my emotion. As soon as I hear the songs I listen to when I work out and I'm not working out, my heart rate shoots right up. That's like classical conditioning. Like as soon as I hear those certain songs, I'm like in that mode, ready to work out. So I think music has a direct effect on my emotions. You know, I choose what music I listen to depending on the emotion I'm in, and the music I listen to affects the emotion I'm experiencing.
Right.
That's the best way I can kind of explain that.
Right. Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
So, basically just tell me how music affects your change in emotion, and what kind of music you listen to, like when you're in a certain kind of mood.
Well, like today it was really nice out, so I was kind of more in the mood for like older music, or like Goo Goo Dolls, like 90s and all that kind of stuff. And it put me in a better mood, a good mood. And then like leaving work or something like that, because I'm like kind of down and just want to go home, I kind of try to listen to more upbeat music, which is kind of, I guess it'd be opposite way, and then that puts me in a better mood and relaxed mood just to go home and be home late from work. And then I guess that's pretty much what affects my mood. It's the only music I really listen to. Just upbeat, hip hop, all that kind of stuff, and then the older 90s music.
Nice. Is there any like artists that you can really relate to? Like when you listen to their music, you're like, oh my gosh, my life.
I guess it kind of bounces back and forth between songs. Definitely a lot of the stuff that I listen to, like the alternative music, and I think that kind of refers more to my life than like the hip hop. I can't really relate to it, but it puts me in a good mood.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think that for a lot of people, music really represents a part of you that could be missing, or it could be your connection to the outside world. I think that it definitely has a lot of influence over you emotionally, because I know that I have been moved by pieces of music, and I know what it feels like to be standing there at a show and just feel like you're the only one there, and like in that moment, that's what matters. Like it's the only thing really going on in your brain at that moment. Or I've been sitting there listening to a piece of music and been like, wow, I remember when I was really little and this song meant so much to me because it was a certain time or place, or like I remember going through certain instances and linking that to music. And I think bands like Blink-182, the Airborne Toxic Event, Kings of Leon, just a ton of other music, Another Breath, they've all been really big influences over me in different parts and sections of my life. And I really depended on those as sort of times when my friends couldn't understand, or when my family couldn't understand. That was my outlet. That was how I knew that I wasn't going crazy, because there were other people in the world who were thinking the same thing that I was. So I think that it's really important for people to have this emotional link and connection to their music, and I really think that it can definitely help with certain things like anxiety and fear and depression and low self-esteem and that sort of thing, because with music you're not the only one going through that, and I think that people find a lot of comfort in that. So that was sort of the purpose of these interviews that I was conducting, and the people who I talk to, obviously I've known throughout my life, or I've become friends with, or I'm very close to them because they're family members, but we also, every single one of us shares a connection through the music that we listen to, and whether it's from an emotional or a psychological, or just because we find happiness in it, I think that psychologically music is crucial, and it's sort of an art that brings people together. Even if you're not interested in art at all, and you feel like you have no talent to speak of, music is something that definitely just brings us all together, and it's a unifier, and it makes us feel whole.
For myself, I kind of had this rejuvenation and this new perspective happen as I was writing the new record. Our manager introduced me to a woman that teaches transcendental meditation, and once I started meditating, I felt all this fear and anxiety sort of lift from my life, and I read David Lynch's book, Catching the Big Fish, which is about how meditation, specifically transcendental meditation, is really good for the creative process, and that actually being in a good frame of mind and being in a positive frame of mind is actually better for making art than being the tortured soul, which I didn't agree with until I read this book and actually started meditating myself. And a good example of that is Van Gogh. Everyone, seems to think that Van Gogh lost his mind drinking absinthe and had all these mental problems, and that's why he was a great painter. Van Gogh was a great painter that had mental problems and drank absinthe and died because of it. So if he had been, happy, who knows what he could have been capable of. Obviously his stuff is undeniably amazing, but it's an interesting point and one that I tend to agree with now more. So I think we've all had some different things come into our lives. Derek's been doing a lot of yoga. Danny had a child. I think we're all in really good places in our lives, and realized that making this record is the chance of a lifetime, and that we should go into it as solid as possible and as happy and open as possible, and that's what we did.
It seems like the first time, seems it never ends. Several nickels on your dime. I thought we were friends. I guess it just depends who you ask. These feelings tend to leave me with a hole in my chest.
When I started my study in documentary, I came up with the hypothesis that music had a definite impact on your emotional state. And I was actually correct. Surprise, surprise. And a lot of my peers basically said the same thing across the board. So I just wanted to make a couple closing statements and point out a few key points in my study. And the first was that my peers had pretty much said the same thing. Happy music definitely perpetuates a happy mood, while sad music perpetuates a sad mood. And I thought that it was really cool that they all basically said the same thing without even interacting with each other or knowing what I was going to ask them. So that was key number one, I think, as to why my hypothesis was correct, was they all sort of had that natural reaction as to, oh yeah, definitely, I listen to happy music when I'm happy. But what I thought was really interesting was that the music that they pointed out to me definitely fit their personality. Like Brian pointed out that he really liked the Abbott Brothers and Mumford & Sons and the Postal Service. And Chris is sort of a happy-go-lucky guy, and he really likes Bob Marley. And I thought that was really cool. And they just sort of offered up that information to me willingly, and that really says a lot to me, because I think the type of music that you listen to definitely says what kind of person you are. And I think that's why it has such a big impact on your emotional state at the time. And another really interesting thing was when I was researching certain artists and what really drove them to write certain songs, when I had found that Alkaline Trio interview, I wasn't expecting Matt, the lead singer, to say that about the whole meditation and, finding a certain state of happy to write music in, because a lot of Alkaline Trio's stuff is really sort of dark. It's a little bit on the morbid side, and it talks a lot about, depression and death and suicide. But I think that music has saved a lot of lives, and his included, and I think that they use it as an outlet for their emotions. And I think that that's a really great thing, and I think it's a good solution to a lot of the problems that young and old people alike are facing at this time, because I think that we're a Prozac nation, and the first thing that we turn to in order to treat depression is medication. And I think that by listening to music that makes you feel good or feel happy, it has a direct impact on your emotional state. And I think that it's a much better solution, to be really honest, than any sort of drug that you can ever take. So that was definitely really interesting. And this study, for me, was based off the works of Dr. Oliver Sacks, because I had read his book Musicophilia, and it had a really profound impact on me, and I really wanted to do my own study on it as soon as possible. So I just want to read you something in the introduction of his book that was really like my aha moment, and the light bulb just kind of turned on. And it basically says that we humans are a musical species no less than a linguistic one. This takes many different forms.
All of us, with very few exceptions, can perceive music, perceive tones, timbre, pitch, intervals, melodic contours, harmony, and perhaps most elementally, rhythm. We integrate all of these and construct music in our minds using many different parts of the brain. And to this largely unconscious structural appreciation of music is added an often intense and profound emotional reaction to music. The inexpressible depth of music, Schopenhauer wrote, so easy to understand yet so inexplicable, is due most to the fact that it reproduces all of the emotions of our innermost being, but entirely without reality and remote from its pain. Music expresses only the quintessence of life and of its events, never these themselves. So, I think that it was important to show how much music really means to the brain and what kind of influence it has over your state of being. Because whether you choose to be happy or sad is completely up to you, but that doesn't mean that you can't influence it with certain kinds of music.
I'm always running out of light, running